capture, nurture, share, learn, recognize. The government best practice recognition. Let your best practice be benchmarks for other agencies to aim for. The GBPR is open to all public sector organizations. Branches and attached agencies are considered separate organizations from their central offices. Campuses of a state college or university system are considered separate organizations. Similarly, campuses within an elementary or high school system are considered separate organizations. Agencies that are hosted by an organization but have a special charter are considered a separate institution from its host. A multi-agency task force or council or network established under a specific law, memorandum, or executive order that functions as an organization will be considered a separate agency from its lead and member agencies. Public hospitals and elementary schools are considered independent from the LGUs and/or Department of Health or Department of Education, respectively. Mechanics of submission. A maximum of 3 entries per agency is allowed. The DAP now enforces electronic submission of entries. The DAP reserves the rights to accept or refuse entries submitted through other platforms other than using the electronic entry form. Submission of entries is completely free of charge. Process of selection for GBPR finalists and recognized best practices. The GBPR best practice entries will undergo 2 separate judging and selection processes. All GBPR best practice entries will be reviewed, evaluated, and scored by a screening committee composed of in-house experts of the DAP to narrow down entries and select qualified best practices to the GBPR presentation to the panel of judges. Results of the in-house screening will be announced via email. Participating agencies with qualified entries will be invited to present their entries to a panel of judges. Recipient organizations are not allowed to join again for the same or similar best practice for a period of 3 years. The decisions of the screening committee and panel of judges are final and cannot be contested. Criteria for judging. The criteria used for judging the best practices submitted to the GBPR are based on the criteria of the International Best Practice Competition and the Philippine Quality Award. The International Best Practice Competition, or IBPC, is an international competition that encourages organizations to share their best operational and managerial practices, processes, systems, and initiatives and learn from the experiences of others in order to facilitate organizational learning and assist organizations to improve their practices. While the PQA is the highest level of national recognition for organizational performance excellence given to public and private organizations, it promotes a holistic and integrated approach to strengthen the management system and processes of an organization to achieve superior results. Criteria are as follows. Level of deployment, 10%. The extent by which the submitted practice is being applied or implemented to fulfill the mandate or achieve the goals or targets of the organization. It involves the regularity by which the practice is being applied or implemented and the consistency by which it is being used by the target users, stakeholders, and beneficiaries. Innovation, 20%. Meaningful change to improve products or services, processes, or organizational effectiveness and create new value for stakeholders. It involves adopting an idea, process, technology, product, or business model that is either new or new to its proposed application. Best practice performance results, 30%. Sustained improvements in the achievement of key performance results or relevant objectives in key areas such as product or service, process, customer results, workforce, leadership and/or governance, financial and organizational and societal outcomes. It also involves the performance level of the organization in reference to its comparators or other high-performing organizations with similar product or service offerings or mandates. Best practice evidence, 20%. These are tangible and intangible proofs that the best practice yields to superior results. Evidences that validate practice's good or best practice status, including awards and citations received, positive customer feedback, replication, and benchmarking of other best practice organizations, or researches or studies done that affirm the effectiveness of the practice. Replicability of practice, 10%. The potential for the practice to be replicated by another public sector. Review next steps planned, 10%. Steps undertaken to ensure sustainability of the practice, including funding, policies, and other strategies that ensure the continuity of the practice in the future. It also looks into plans for the future of the program. These are the 6 criteria for judging the GBPR. Send your entries and let your best practices inspire other organizations towards public service excellence for the Filipino people. Be the pebble that starts the ripple effect. Be part of GBPR.